Hello guys, welcome back to the Bookla channel. In today's episode, we're talking about museums. So I will guide you around the 7 wonders of how to integrate a ticket selling component into your web or your app. I will show you how to create the tickets, how to include dynamic pricing so they can behave differently depending on the time or the day of the week. I will show you how to create bundles so you can sell more than one ticket with a discount, and how to increase the profit using add-ons so you can sell this guided tour or museum booklet. Then we're gonna take care of cancellation and rescheduling policy and even notifications with QR codes. Finally, I will teach you how to integrate it into the web step by step. So, without anything else to say, let's begin the tour. Since today is all about museums, allow me to give you a tour of all the elements I will be using so you can follow me if you like. The first thing I will be using is the Bookla platform. In here, we're going to add the services, the resources, the plugins for payment, notifications, cancellation policy, and add-ons. Many others we can add. Besides Bookla platform, I will be using Framer because we built our landing page using a free template called Greenleaf. So let's put it into the browser. On this landing page, as you can see, we have beautiful elements, and then we have this ugly pink square that is going up and down, right? Here, we're gonna put our booking component. Not only here, we're also gonna add it here because we have this additional special event called Experience Art from the Artist's Eye. And then here we're gonna add another booking component. Besides the website, we are going to be using the Bookla Styler app. You get there through component.bookla.com. On the Styler app, you can play around with your booking component, and then you can customize it however you like. If you go to theme, you will see theme, but you will also see layout, typography, buttons, items, list, summary. So you can change everything: the gaps, the padding, the font, the radius, the colors. Unlimited customization. Besides this, we're gonna be visiting the docs. Or if you don't use the Styler app, you can get there through docs.bookla.com. It's important that you have this handy because whenever you get stuck or have some doubts, most likely the answer is here. So if we go to Start Guide and then go to how to set up services, and specifically the one we're using today, tickets, you will find a lot of information. And then on this drop-down menu under tickets, you will find, for example, scheduling rules. Today, in a few examples, we're gonna use this rule syntax. And then we're gonna use the frec interval by day, by hour, by minute. So if you want to dive deeper into this, you can do it using the Bookla documentation page. Enough of talking, let's go and start creating some companies, right? For that, we go to bookla.com and either create a company or sign in. Since we're talking about Nexo Museum today, I have it here brand new. Here on the Bookla platform, there are two main things that we need to do first: resources and services. Resources are the entity that provides the service. It could be a car if it's a car rental. It could be a museum if it's a museum. It could be a person if it's a teacher service or yoga service. So the resource is the entity that will host the event in this case. And then the service is what is offered on this resource. Let's go ahead and create first our museum, our first resource. For that, we click on New Resource, and we need to give it a name. We're gonna call it, you guessed it, Museum. We hit Create, and then we need to do one more thing. We need to allocate this resource a working hour or a working schedule. Let's add the working schedule of our museum. It will open from 8 a.m. all the way till 11 p.m. And don't be concerned because this is not the operating hours of the museum. This is just how long this museum is available to be used. Because if it was a person, it also needs to sleep. But then we will limit each event or service inside the museum with its own schedule. So we create this schedule It means that it's open every day from 8 to 11 p.m. Create. Then we have closing period. Assuming that it will be on renovation, then we could allocate this closing period. It will be on, I don't know, pest control, so we could allocate these 2 days for it not to be available. And then metadata is to gather or send information that is beyond the normal information. We can cover that in another tutorial. For today, it's not necessary. So now we have a museum and it says link with service. Let's create our service. The main service that we're going to be offering, the main one, will be museum visit. You guessed it. So we click next, and then we need to choose very carefully this step. What type of booking or services are we providing? Is it fixed, flexible? Fixed is for something as an English class that you will arrive and you will go. It have a predetermined duration and it can host X amount of people. So today we want to sell tickets. So we're gonna choose tickets, click on next, and then we need to choose the duration of this service. Since we don't want to limit people inside the museum, we are not going to choose a duration that is actually mandatory, but we want to limit them on arrival time because we want them to arrive little by little. Since our museum can only host so many people, we don't want 1,000 people to arrive at 10 a.m. We cannot handle this. But if everybody arrive every 15 minutes, like 10, 10, 10, or 20, 20, 20, then we can let people in as more people is walking out. So I'm gonna set the duration of this time slot to 15 minutes. 15 minutes, no hours. To 15 minutes. And then for the type of booking, it can either be instant, so people just book and that's it. It can require confirmation, so somebody from the team needs to confirm, or it needs prepayment that as soon as you pay is confirmed. For now, let's make it instant and then we'll develop into another service and another type of booking, such as prepayment. Create. And that's it. Now we can create the tickets. Before creating any tickets, we need to link the service with our resource. So since we only have museum, let's go ahead and link with museum for now. Then we can create the tickets. Tickets can be very diverse. We can have adult tickets, children tickets, VIP tickets, senior tickets. So let's begin with the basics, with adults. Adult ticket. We have a ticket. Now for each ticket, we need to add a set of rules. The first one is the first day that this ticket will be available for purchase, or the first day of the event. Let's create a slot by clicking Add Slot. Here, there is a predetermined duration of our service, but this is going to be the amount of increments that you can buy this ticket at if it's a recurring event. Otherwise, we can just say that the event will be 8 hours and just be one-time entry, like for a concert or, I don't know, a car race or something like that. But since it's museum entries, people need to enter throughout the whole day. Then we need to select the resource that will be providing the service. Imagine that we have a secret gallery, then we could choose a single event for this secret gallery. For now, we choose the museum. And then the start date and time. Well, we're gonna begin tomorrow at 8 a.m. 8:00 a.m. There it is. And then will it repeat? I told you that you needed to know some rules to do this part, right? Or visit our documentation. You can set a weekly, and then it will repeat every day of the week. Every day of the week that we select at this time. And then if you select more days, then it will repeat those days at this time. But for now, we want to make it every 15 minutes. So let's create a custom rule. If I don't remember wrongly, then the rule was all capitals, frec equals minutely, not daily, not hourly, minutely. And then we need to provide the intervals To provide the intervals, you need to use this semicolon, type interval, and then equal to how many minutes will this interval be. We said that it was 15 minutes. And then it repeats until forever, for now. Create, successfully created slot. So it means that it's working. If we did it wrongly, let's go ahead and try to make something that will not work. The system will let you know. For example, custom rule every minute. Nope, the rule is faulty. Now that we have the time slot for this ticket, we need to add the capacity for this event. Very important. How many people will enter every 15 minutes? So we said there was 400 people that this museum can handle, and everybody takes 2 hours. So that means 200 people per hour, 50 people per slot. So let's add 50 people to every slot. And then we can change this and we can limit this by days of the week. So for example, on Mondays, we will allow 60, on Tuesdays, only 30, because on Tuesday we have school visitations, which is another event. And then there's a whole group of kids running around. So you want to limit the regular entries. For now, let's leave it like that. Create. So we have our capacity and we need to have our availability, because we don't want the adults to enter whenever there is a VIP event or whenever there is some kind of other type of event to which they didn't buy any ticket. So let's create the availability for this resource. The ticket adult will be available. If we don't choose anything, it will be just predetermined as long as the museum is open. But I'm gonna limit it by hours because at night we're doing this elegant gallery fancy event. So we're gonna limit by hours from 8 a.m. up to 19. Create. So this ticket called adult can only be purchased all the way up to 19. So by the time that is 9 p.m., they're all outside the museum and I can do my fancy gala, right? Now, important, the pricing. For the pricing, we need to choose the currency. We have all of them in the world, but today we're gonna work in dollars. And then you need to choose the tax, because taxes are mandatory almost everywhere, sadly. Let's say that we live in a very nice country and we have 10% tax, which is inclusive. And we can save this. Now we can add the price rules. How much is this ticket? Well, this ticket will be, we need to select it, adults, will be $20 every single time, right? Create. But now we want to make this ticket more expensive on the weekends. We can create another price rule. We select our ticket, and then we want to make it $30. We need to choose a higher priority, so whenever it's weekend, this priority will overrule the first rule that we just created. So if we choose priority number 2, and then we limit this rule to Saturdays and Sundays, then our tickets will be more expensive on the weekends. Create. Okay, now we have a ticket that on Sunday and Saturday will be more expensive, will be 30 euros with a higher priority. Now, metadata, we can leave like that, and settings, we can later on change if the booking is instant, requires payment or confirmation, and then we can change the duration of these intervals. Good. Should we go ahead and test all this to see how it looks? Let's do it. For that, we're gonna go to the Bookla Styler app. Here on the Styler app, we need to first set up our Bookla company so we can copy our configurations and settings and make them work in this example. To do that, we need different information. We need the API key, we need the company ID, and we need the service ID. So first, let me show you how to get the API key. Back to the Bookla platform, we need to click here on developers on the left. And then we need to add our API key. we click on Add API Key, and it's very important that you don't enable any of the merchant permissions, any of them. You can only enable client permissions. For them to see client services, they can view it. Client resources, they can view it. Guest client, they can create. And then allow authentication by plugins in case they require one. So you enable these four and you can create your API key. Don't forget to name it first. Let's call it API Museum. Now we can create the API key. It's very important that you copy this and store it on a safe place because it will only be displayed once. So let's put it here in our notepad. API key. That way we know we're not gonna lose it again. Okay. We can close this. Now we have the first thing to link our component on the Bookla Styler app. Then we need our company ID, which is this one over here. I'm gonna copy that one and put it in our safe place. Company ID. Company ID. And we have it. Additionally, we're gonna need the service ID. How to get that one? Well, we go to Bookla, Services, and then we copy our service ID. In the future, we will need our ticket ID. So let's call ticket adult ID and just have it there for whenever we need it. We can go to the ticket and copy this ID already. Great. Now we go back to the styler and we can populate this. Even though I'm using dollars, I am currently in Europe. So I'm gonna choose Europe, but you need to choose the region where you are. And then we're gonna put our API key. Make sure you don't copy any spaces because it's sensitive to spaces too. Then the company. And finally, the service. With all the information here, now we see our ticket, the only one we made, for adults. Let's try to buy one. Continue. And we see that there is no available time today because we open tomorrow. But what about tomorrow? There it is. We can buy a ticket from 8 a.m. all the way to 6:45 p.m. because we set the limitation of availability from 8 till 7. What about the price limitation? Right now it's 20 because it's Thursday. Friday will be 20, but on the weekend it was more expensive if I remember. So on the weekend it will be $30. Good, it's working perfectly. So here we can also customize a few more things. For example, select resource. If we had multiple museums or multiple galleries, we could change that for select gallery. For example, here under resources, and then we can just replace the word resource with the word gallery. And it will show select gallery. But we don't want to show that. So we will disable this part and then nobody knows we only have one museum. Now let's go back to Bookla and create all of the tickets we will use for this museum. Back to the Bookla platform. We need to continue to add tickets to this service. So let's go to tickets and now we will create one ticket for children. We call it children. Create the ticket, and same as we did with the other ones, we need to create all of the rest of the things. The availability we already set, so we don't need to do this one more time unless we're creating a different type of event, but it's the same museum visitation. So let's keep it like that. Now capacity is the same. Availability, now we need to limit the children so they can go only up to 5, maybe from 10 to 5, so the adults can enjoy some museum visitation without little kids, because some adults might not like kids. So let's create the availability for the children ticket this time, and we're gonna limit on hours from 10 all the way till 5 p.m. And we're going to create. Now the children can only go during these times. Now for the pricing. As the adults have different pricing, the kids can also have different pricing. So let's create the first general price. It will be $15. $15 every single day. Create. Now on the weekends, it will be more expensive. So it will be $22. Let's create another rule for the children's ticket. And now we will say that is $22. If we add compare price, it will show this price that we add as compare with a line cross, and it will show a new price. So you can do that whenever you lower your prices. Now let's limit this to the weekends. And we need to set a higher priority. We create, and there it is. Let's make one more ticket for senior tickets. The senior ticket, will it be limited? No, it will not be limited. It will be just as an adult ticket. Add. So now we choose senior, and then we will choose the schedule that the seniors can attend from 8 a.m. all the way to 19. Create. The pricing, the senior will always pay the same price. So let's say that the senior ticket always costs $12. Great. Create. Now let's make this exclusive gala ticket. Let's call it exclusive gala. Great. Now this we need to limit because we're leaving the museum open very late but empty for these people, the people that will pay more. Let's limit the availability to this ticket to only after 7. So from 19 all the way through the museum is closed. And we can create the availability of the exclusive gala. Oops, we forgot to select the ticket. You see, very important, exclusive gala. Now we create. Great, let's price this gala. So, for the ticket exclusive gala, is going to be $70 every single day. And yes, you guessed correctly, on the weekends, we're gonna make it $90 because enjoying the art without many people around is pricey. And we create. We need to select the ticket every single time so the software knows whose ticket this will apply to. Now, with all these, we can go and test. Let's see how it looks. Into the styler, we're gonna go back, and then we're going to refresh our component. For that, you can just click here and back to booking, and look at that. Now we have adult, children, senior, and the exclusive gala. If we were to choose the exclusive gala, 2 tickets, and we continue, we see that there is nothing for today. But what about tomorrow? There is only starting at 7 p.m. So you can go at 7 p.m., 7:15, 7:30, all the way until 10:45, because this is the time where nobody else can enter. Amazing. Let's go back. Let's see, what about the senior? When can they go? The senior can go same as the adult. Good, that works as intended. What about the children? The children can go from 10 a.m. all the way to 4:45. The price is 15 and on the weekends is 22. But what happens if we choose a ticket of 2 adults and 1 kid? Since after 5 there is no more kids allowed, then the software will just give you the time frame in which all of them can go. For example, if we were to choose an exclusive gala and 1 children, there will be no times available. There is no exclusive gala plus children for you. I'm sorry. Sometimes selling tickets is not all you need. Sometimes you need to upsell some things. For example, museum booklets, guided tours, souvenirs, and all of that you can do with the booking component. For that, we need a very special plugin. Let me show you how to get it. To get any plugins on Bookla, we're gonna click on plugins, add plugins, and then we're gonna see this variety of different plugins. Today, we're gonna use a few of them. So the first one will be service add-ons. We're gonna click on add, and we're gonna confirm add. That's it. We have the service add-ons. We're also gonna use booking rules so we can set cancellation policy and rescheduling policy. Let's add it too. We can also use email notifications because we need to send people their notification or even a QR code whenever they make their booking or whenever they buy their tickets. Let's add this one too. And finally, we need to add some type of payment gateway. I like to use Stripe, so I'm gonna add that one too. We click add, and then we add Stripe. Let me show you first what to do with the service add-ons, because it's very interesting things we can do with this. Now, to set up any plugins, we just need to find it here under plugins and click on it. Here on service add-ons, we need to create our first add-on. Let's go and click create add-on. And then we can either create one single add-on or a group of things that you can add on. For example, guided tours. Will it be private? Will it be group? Will it be exclusive? And all of them can have a different price even though it's the same add-on. For now, let's create just a single add-on. What is the name of this add-on? Museum book. Museum book. We can add a description, but it's optional. And then this book is gonna be $5 with 10% tax inclusive. And then the minimum quantity, 0, because it's not mandatory. But you could make something mandatory and then just upsell the tickets. You could have a free service and then a mandatory add-on. Maximum, let's say 1,000. 1,100, because we don't have that many in the museum, right? No, we don't want people buying 1,000,000 booklets, right? And then we just create it. Now let's create a group add-on so you can see. Create a group add-on. This requires multiple things that we're gonna group together. This is going to be guided tours. Guided tours. The first one will be a group guided tour. And the price will be $10 with taxes included. On the other hand, you could buy an individual guided tour. This one has to be at least 5 times more because that's what it is. It's the price of a guide with a 10% tax included. And we can create the group. Now we have 2 different add-ons. We have the museum book and then we have the guided tours, which is a group. What do we do now? We need to link this with our service. Since our service is museum visits, we're gonna link both of them with this service. We could make it require, as you see here, and we could override the price. But then this is things that we might cover in another tutorial. For today, this is more than enough for you. But if you have any questions on what is required, on how to override the price, drop a comment right here. Alrighty, let's go and test the add-ons. Back to the Bookla styler. we need to enable the add-ons. How do you do that? Config, all the way to the bottom, you will find add-ons right here. Enable the add-ons. And now we have these fields that we can change their names. Let me show you how it works. Let's say that we are going, you and me, so 2 adults, to this museum, and then we're gonna go tomorrow at 8:15. At the bottom, you will find guided tours. Select an option. What is this? Do you wanna have a guided tour? I wanna have a guided tour. Ooh, group guided tour, $10. Individual guided tour, $50. God damn it. Let's have a group guided tour. We just join there and we have our group guided tour. Now, do you want to have a museum book? I do, so I'm gonna buy it. And as you can see, the more add-ons we add, the more than the total increases. If we were having the same add-ons on the weekend with a more expensive ticket, then we will be paying way more than what we just paid. $80. You know what? Let's go ahead and book. For booking, you just add your name, your last name, and your email. And that's it. You will have a booking. Now you understand that you can have add-ons. What else can we have? Let me show you. Back to the Bookla platform, we're going to go back into services and tickets. Because on the pricing, there is a very interesting feature. There is something called bundles. On the bundles, you can create that, bundles. So let's say that you wanna encourage people to come together. So we're gonna create the first bundle, the universal bundle. It's gonna be adult tickets with a minimum quantity of 2 and a maximum quantity of all of them, up to 50 because that's our slot capacity, plus a minimum quantity of 1 children with a maximum quantity of 3 children, because we don't want schools to be bringing all the kids for a preferred price, right? So let's say that if it's 2 adults with at least 1, 2, or 3 kids, they will have a special price. Let's say that each adult ticket will be $10 instead of $20, and each children ticket will be $5, right? And we're going to limit this only to Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. On these days, you can enjoy this promotion. Let's create it. Oh, we didn't select the children ticket, you see? Please don't be like me and select the ticket every single time. Bookla is amazing, but it doesn't read your mind. Create the bundle. Now we have a bundle. Let's go test. Here we are. So let's go back, all the way back. And now we're going to be 2 adults and 2 children. Continue. And since I know there is a preferred price, no way I'm gonna go and pay $104 on a Sunday. Let's go on the Monday. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Instead of 70, we paid 30. We better go on the Mondays. So the bundles work however you like. We can create bundles for, let's say, we wanna create bundles for schools, for example. So when you have a children ticket, more than 10 of them, so more than 10 children, will give you a price of $3, for example. $3 per ticket. We wanna educate the kids. But the rule says that at least 1 adult. We don't want 30 kids on their own. We want 30 kids with 1 responsible adult. And we're gonna limit this and we're gonna call it Thursday for Education. Only on Thursday. Let's create this bundle. And let's see how it looks. Now, if we come back and we choose many kids, like 17 of them and just 1 adult, or it could be 3 or 4 adults, it's at least 1, right? So let's choose 3 adults. continue, you will see that we apply to some kind of bundle, the couples bundle or something like that. But if we did it on the Thursday, it will be just 51 euro because we're taking advantage of this amazing school bundle. And then if you don't want to have any bundles, you just delete your bundles. Whenever you want to delete the bundles, you delete them. So I'm going to make the ones that we're going to be using finally. It's going to be the parents bundle. So it's 2 adults up to, so we don't want all the friends to come together, right? So up to 4 adults, and then from 1 kid up to 3 kids. And this bundle will be priced at, instead of 20, 15. And then instead of 10, it could be 8. And we're gonna create this bundle for all the weekdays. All the weekdays, kids can come. You see, they don't have full schedule, but they have bundles. Nice, we have a bundle. Let's see if it works as we want. This time it will not be 17 kids because our rule says up to 3. So regular couple, 2 adults and 2 children. We continue, and then we see that during the weekdays there is a discounted price for our bundle, but on the weekends, no. The weekends you better don't go out. Stay home doing some workouts or reading or creating your web. Amazing. Now let me show you how to send notifications and how to customize your cancellation and rescheduling policy before we integrate everything into the web. Back to the Bookla portal, we're gonna go into email notifications. Now here you will find 3 things: merchant, client, and settings. Merchant and client is the place where the templates will be stored. Settings is something that we need to fill out just for people to have an email to reply to. Today will be my work email, felix@bookla.com. Save. With all this done, we can create our first template. When creating email notifications, we need to take care of few things, and then we can do a lot more things that I will explain, so pay attention. The first thing we need to decide is, this email is for the merchant, for the museum itself, for internal use, or for the client. This one is for the client. What type of booking event will trigger this email? Will it be the booking confirm or the ticket purchase in this case? The ticket cancel, rescheduling of the ticket, the pending confirmation, subscription, gift card. We have many types of events. Let's choose booking confirm. Is when you buy a ticket, is confirmed. Now we can create a subject line for this template, meaning the subject line for the email that people will get. And then we can use variables, which is these words you see in between brackets. These variables will be replaced for real data whenever the email is sent. So let's create the subject line as follows. Hello, first name. Your ticket is ready. Hello, Felix, your ticket is ready. This is good. Now, dear Felix, your purchase was successful. Find your ticket below. Where is my ticket? We need to click here on attach QR code. When we click this, then we will receive a QR code. And then we can say, instead of booking details, we can say ticket details. Instead of service, because it says museum visit is the only service we offer, we will say valid for, and then it will say museum visit. The resource is our museum itself. So the name of the resource, we can just get rid of resource because we only have one, unless we had multiple, which we will in a few seconds. And then the start date, the start time, and then we can get rid of the end time. And we can say, your ticket is valid only for 30 minutes after start date and start time. That way, people must arrive within this 30-minute time span of their ticket purchase. Additionally, we can give people more details, such as find us here. And you can add the address link to your museum. Let's look for a museum. Maps. Google Maps. And then we'll look for a museum. There is a museum right there. Amazing museum. If you haven't been, I recommend. So we're gonna copy this link and put it into our email template. So far, this is as much as we're sending into the email. We're gonna create this template and let's try it in the Bookla styler. Let's go make a booking only for ourselves to see if we get it. One adult, continue. We're going Saturday at this time. We don't require anything else. And then we're just gonna add our details. I have a special email for clients called Bookla clients. Bookla client at gmail.com. Book now. Now we're supposed to get an email in client's email. Here it is. If you don't believe me, let's delete all the previous ones and just leave this one so we can understand what we're working with. Hello, Felix. Your is ready. There's a mistake that we clearly made in our template. So let's come back to our template and figure out what it was by editing the template. Your is ready. No, there was no mistake. We forgot to type ticket. Your ticket is ready. Save. Now let's test it correctly. Believe it or not, I did that just to test it again. No, I'm kidding, I didn't. So we have this, we buy this service, and then we add our data. So you can see that this is live. This is not staged. What you see is what you get. All right. Then we should be getting the other email. This time, the correct email. Hello, Felix. Your ticket is ready. Amazing. I already see the QR code there. Your purchase was successful. Find your tickets below. Ticket details. Valid for museum visit. So you see, we had, let's go back to the template. We had valid for bracket service. And then on the email, we got valid for museum visit. Your ticket is valid only for 30 minutes after Thursday, April 9th at 8 a.m. So if we're late, no ticket. And then we have a QR code that can be scanned using the Bookla platform or any mobile device with camera. And then you can access the booking and make sure it's real or not. Okay, so we're almost there with email notifications. We want to allow the people to reschedule or cancel these tickets. Do we? If we wanted to, we could. So let me show you how to do that. To do that, we need to enable another plugin. This time, we're gonna enable booking rules. Booking rules allow you to set up cancellation rules and rescheduling rules. So let's create cancellation rules first. We click on New Cancellation Rule. The first thing we need to do is give it a name. Let's call it Cancellation Policy. Then, regarding priority, we're gonna leave at 0 because we only have one cancellation rule. But if we had multiple, then we can give it a higher priority. Services, we're gonna leave unselected, so it will apply to all the services, including the one we have. And if we have more, it will also apply to those. Now, here is where it becomes interesting. If you were to cancel the booking with less than 24 hours before the museum visit, then you will be refunded 100%. That is the standard. But let's make it 95 so we can see and we can recover some of that booking fee, right? Then we can add another rule that if you will cancel with less than 24 hours, between 24 and 0 hours, you will only get 10%. So we can see it reflected on the example. And so on and so forth. You can customize this as you like. Let's go ahead and create the cancellation policy. Now here we see a few things. The first thing that we see here is that no payment provider is configured. So we cannot refund anybody yet because we still have no payment provider. The other thing is the rescheduling rules, which we can create by clicking here, create rescheduling rule. And then, very important here in contact details, we need to add our contact details for people to be able to contact us. So let's go ahead and do that right now. First thing we do is we add an email. We're gonna call it felixbookla.com. Then we need to add a phone number. 1 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 0. And then finally a message. Working hours from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. And then we can create these contact details. Now let's go and create our rescheduling rules. Create rescheduling rule, and then we call it rescheduling policy. The same, priority and services, we're gonna leave untouched for now because we only have one service and we don't need to add another rescheduling rule. And if you were to reschedule 24 hours or more, you will be able to. Less, you will not be able to. So since we're not losing the money of this ticket right now, let's make it more flexible and bring it down to 12 hours. So everything before 12 hours can be rescheduled and anything after cannot be rescheduled. Let's create, and there we have it. Now we can go and finish this manage URL email notifications. Let's go back to the email notifications, and since we're here and there is no merchant email, let's make one for the merchants. We're gonna choose merchant instead of client this time, and then we're gonna leave the same booking event, booking confirm. Now we need to add a recipient because unlike the client, we never type the recipient email on the booking. So we need to add this email here. Because there could be one guy at the museum that requires to get this email and not many other people. Since we're selling tickets, I don't think it's that necessary. I'm just gonna do it so you can see the capabilities of the booking system. So let's make a very simple one. We're gonna add the recipient's email, and then we're gonna just leave the subject line like this. Maybe let's call it new ticket purchase. And then a new ticket has been purchased. Good. Here on this list of details, there is one detail that we can add that is specifically for ticket. So let's go into our Bookla documentation, find email notifications, and then notification creation. Here we're gonna see the variables, and then we're gonna pick the one that is for tickets, because this might contain relevant information for the staff, or maybe for the client. This ticket will show the type of ticket that you have. If it was a concert, it could say you are all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. It could help organize the event. Let's put it back here, and then just for now, then we'll just keep it at that. Let's call this not booking details, but ticket details. And then we have the name of the client, it's important, the service, the resource, the start time, all of it is important, the booking ID is important, and then the ticket. Keeping the same format, ticket. So people at the museum knows which ticket we have. Let's create it. Now let's create an additional template for client this time. Booking event, confirm, and then we're gonna say your tickets are ready. Dear client first name, and also we can add client last name to make it more unique to this client. First name and last name. Your ticket has been purchased. Successfully. Ticket details, the service, the resource, and we can say, remember, your ticket is valid only for 20 minutes after start date and time. And here we can say, we are glad your tickets work, and then the name of the service. Ticket details. We're glad you got tickets for museum visit. Remember, your ticket is valid only 20 minutes after the start date and time. And then we can continue to add the details. If you need to modify your tickets, please click here. And then we're gonna add the manage URL, which is right here also on the documentation page. So we just copy this and put it here. And then I don't remember if we test the museum, so let's test it again. You can find the museum here. The museum here. Where? We have a museum link right here. Thanks. See you soon. Regards. Nexo Museum. And don't forget to enable the QR code if you want the people to receive a QR code. Enable. And now create template. But before we can test this cancellation policy and the refund amount, we need to have some kind of payment. Otherwise, what are we going to refund? Let's take care of the payments now. To do that, we need to click here on Stripe, the previous plugin we installed, and then click on Start Connecting. We need a secret key and 3 different URLs. Let's go get the secret key. So for that, we go to stripe.com. Once here, we click on Dashboard and either create an account or log into yours. Great. Here, we are going to click on Developers and then on API Keys. At the bottom, you will find the secret key. You can just click on it and copy this key. Let's go put it right here. Beautiful. Now we need a success URL. We need to go find one on Framer. We go to Framer, and then I already have one here called Success. It says, that's it, see you soon. This one will work. So let's update and get this link. So this one, we can just put it right here under success. Then we need one for failure redirect. I already have one here called fail. So we are also gonna publish this one, get the URL and put it in here. And then one for cancel. Same process. I call it something went wrong, but this one will work for testing purposes. Now we have all three URLs, and then we could add tax ID collection, automatic tax calculation, and then billing address. Whenever you're gonna turn your account live, you need to fill out the rest of the information. For now, we can leave it like this for testing. Let's connect. There it is, we have payments. But testing these different URLs, I realized that why don't we test everything on the web? I guess it's time that we integrate our component. Let's go and do that right now. Back to Framer. Now we're gonna work in the home page and replace this ugly pink square with our beautiful component. First, we can get rid of the pink finally and add our component here. For that, we need to install the Bookla's plugin inside Framer. How do we do that? We go to plugins, then browse all, and then type Bookla. If you don't have it, you can just go into browse plugins and it will take you to the plugin market of Framer. So we type Bookla, look for it, the first one that you will see, click on that one, and then you need to select the project in which were you, and then you need to select the project to run it on. So open plugins, this time will be Greenleaf. Copy. There it is, we have our list of components. Very important that you select the right type of component. Today we're working with tickets, so let's go ahead and select that one. And we can close this window. Now we have a plugin that we can add to our intended space, right there. And then we can start playing around with these settings. The first thing I'm gonna do is adjust the width and size of the component. I'm gonna set it to small, and then on the width, I'm gonna make it relative, and then just 95%. So it's an even number. Okay, this is what we have, and then we can preview it and see how it's coming along. There it is, very nice, very elegant already, but we can style it to the web. Let's do that also and connect it to Bookla, very important. So let's go step by step. We adjusted the width already. The height we're gonna leave fit. The size we adjusted. The background color. We can choose any color we like, but then we can also choose the colors that are predetermined on the theme, which is a very nice thing to make it look like it belongs to the web. So let's look for the background colors of the web and choose this one. That one looks nice. Then we have the primary color and secondary color. This is for text. Those we can use, we need to use some dark. So we're gonna use this dark, maybe this primary of the web, and then for secondary, the secondary of the web, which are very similar to ours, but slightly different. Great. Now we go into the font family. We use by default Inter. It's a very nice one, but what about the web? What about these letters? Are some heading, but of what kind? Poppins. So we can replace our font with Poppins. Just come here. There it is. We have Poppins already. Good. Now we have the font, and we can go into the item itself. The items are the squares that will be displayed inside the component once that we connect this. So I'm gonna replace this with the color of the web on the background scene. So let's use this one and keep it like that. Then we have the brand. The web has its brand already, which is this dark green. We can use that one. And then for the text, we're gonna leave it like it is for now. Let's see how it's coming along. Now we have the buttons. The buttons, we're gonna change to the primary color of the web too. Great. Then we can configure the time. It can either be grid or select. I guess we're going to use select, and then I will show you why in a few seconds. Before we continue editing, let's finally connect the component. To connect the component, we need to click here on Bookla, and first of all, select the region, Europe. And then we need to add this API key that we have somewhere here. Good. Now we need the company ID that we also have here. And finally, we need a service ID. We need a service ID that we have here. And with this should be enough to test how it looks, but not finally. We still need to link the tickets. So let's see how it looks. Wow, you see, with small little changes, this already belongs to this web. Wow, amazing. Beautiful component. I like it. So I guess we don't need to keep modifying the style of it. We just need to finally link it all the way through. Coming back here, we're going to click on tickets. And then we need to add the tickets to be displayed on this specific component. Let's begin with adult tickets, and then we can add a subtitle. We can make it more informative. Let's call adults anybody from, so age 17, maybe not 17, because what about children? So 14 to 64. Anything in between is an adult. And we need the ID of this ticket itself. So let's go to get that one in Bookla. Services, tickets, and then the ID for adult. And then we can set our max count. We said it was 50 slots per time frame, so we don't mind if somebody buys 50 tickets themselves. Alrighty, now let's add all the other tickets. We have one here. Let's add now children. Children is anybody from age 0 to 13. The ID. And 50. Next one is senior. Senior has to be anybody older than 64, according to this logic, right? Well, 65 plus. 65 plus, you'll have a discount in this museum. And then the ID. And the same count, unless we want to limit the seniors, but we don't want to do that. Oops, that's a lot of tickets. There. Finally, we have one more service. We have exclusive gala. So let's get this ID, put it in there, and call it exclusive gala. The exclusive is very exclusive, so we're not going to limit by age, just by price. And then the subtitle can say dress code formal. And then includes cocktail and food. Very nice gala to go visit the museum. And then for the expensive gala, only 10 tickets can be purchased. We don't want to have a lot of people. Right? Good. So we have this working. Now, before this can be fully working, we need to do a few more things. The first one is the add-ons. We need to enable them first. And then I want to get rid of the resources because we don't want people to actually have to choose the resource. So it will not show. Let's see how it's looking. Okay, let's make some bookings this time. So one for adults, continue, and we have a lot of available times, which you might not like to have this broad availability display. This is why I was saying that we can come back and fix this very quickly. We can go into the time and replace the grid for the select right here on time config. We're gonna choose select, and then we can type select time of arrival. Let's go check one more time. Now, one adult ticket, continue. Oh, what a difference. What an elegance. It's a museum. It must be a beautiful component. Great. Now we can choose the select time of arrival, 8 a.m. And then we see the different pricing. But what if I don't want to go on the Thursday, but on the Sunday? It's a different price. So remember all the rules that we set up previously. Now, I'm gonna select my time of arrival at 10 a.m. because on the Sundays I like to sleep a little longer. And then guided tours. Yes, I want to have a guided tour. I don't mind sharing my guided tour with other people. And then I also like one museum booklet for additional 15 euros. So it's a grand total of 45. This is so far so amazing. We need to take care of something else. What about John Nichols? John Nichols, will he sell the tickets for his artist night every day? We need to take care of this also. Let's go ahead and do that now before we go ahead and give it a final run. So, back to our Bookla platform, we need to create another service. We're gonna create a service called Meet the Artist. Next, this service will also be tickets, so we can sell different types of tickets. Next, and then the duration of the event will be 2 hours. And since we're not selling multiple tickets for this event, it's just one-time event, we can set the duration to 2 hours. And for the service, we're gonna choose prepayment because this will be an expensive service, so we need to make sure that people pay. The first thing, we need to link it with a resource. The only one we have is museum, but if we had a separate gallery, we can call it separate gallery and create another resource. So linked. Now we need to create the tickets. We're gonna call general ticket, and we also will have VIP tickets. This time I'm gonna go a little faster because we did it already everything. So for the schedule, we need to set the availability of this event. So it will last 2 hours, it will be on the museum, and it will begin on Saturday at 8 p.m. What do you think about 8 p.m? I think it's a proper time to meet the artist on Saturday night. So Saturday, and then it will repeat every week. But not only on the Saturdays, also on the Sundays. So we have weekly, Saturday and Sunday selected, and then it begins at 8 p.m. So it should repeat these 2 days every week. And we create. Now we need to add a capacity. For the capacity, let's make it a very private event and say 20 people. We could limit this by days, but we're gonna leave it like that. Every day there is 20 tickets available. Now, availability. Let's add the rule. When is each ticket available? So both of them are going to be available every time of the event. So we need to add 2 availabilities. Select both tickets and create. Now for the pricing, we need to set again the currency, the tax rate, 10%, and we need to add our pricing rule. The first one will be for general people, and it will cost $100. Kind of expensive, but let's give it a go. $100. For the VIP, it will be, of course, $200. And we create the availability. Very good. Now we can test if it's working or not. So let's come back here and add our component to this part of the page. First, we're gonna, actually, since this component is already pre-styled, I'm just gonna copy this one and put it here, and then we just change the IDs to make it unique. We're gonna find this spot here and put our component in there. It already looks like the previous one, so we save a lot of time. For the pink, let's get rid of it. And then we can set it to absolute, so we can adjust the positioning. There we go. There. Perfect. But now it says adult, children, and we don't need this. We need to vinculate it with the new service we created, which is called Meet the Artist. Now let's do that here on service ID. And of course, we need to choose the tickets we created. So we can remove all and we can just add a new one. This one is general. And then it says access to the event. The ID of general, tickets, ID, and the max count of 20. Too many numbers of 20. Now we need to add the VIP. The VIP, which includes backstage access. All right, and the ID finally of VIP. Since it's VIP, let's only allow 10 VIPs to enter. And with this all set, we can go and see how it behaves. General, 2 generals, continue. There is nothing today, nothing on Friday, but on Saturdays and Sundays, there is availability. Very nice. So let's go back and do something else. We need to include some add-ons for this additional gala, right? We're gonna do it very quickly this time. So we go into add-ons and we're gonna create one add-on. This one will be photo shoot with the artist for a nice price of 10 euros. And then the maximum quantity, I guess we can say 100. And it's not required. The tax percentage is 10 and it's inclusive. Create. And let's create another add-on that is called signed art. So you will get a piece of art that is signed by this guy for $100, 10% inclusive, maximum quantity 10. And create. Now let's link them with Meet the Artist, photo shoot, and signed art. Back to Framer. So you see how quickly it is when we already know what we are doing. And then we will enable the add-ons. Yes, they are enabled already. So let's see how it looks. We choose one general, one VIP, we continue, we choose the date, and then beautiful. We have the add-ons, they're overlapping here, so it's something we can fix very quickly. Coming back home, we need to increase the height of this container a little. there. Perfect. I guess we can publish the website and see it all coming alive. Tan tan tan, Nexo Museum. Oh, what a nice paintings. So we start scrolling and then we see the different galleries, beautiful, and we see our booking component fixed here, following me along the page. So today I will be going to the museum with my wife, my kid, my grandfather, and that's it for now. Then we're gonna go on the Sunday. It's more expensive, so you see the difference right away here. At 10 a.m. is 50 euros, but on the Sunday is 94 euros, but sadly it's the only day I can go. And then we have this part that says tickets, and then we can manage our tickets. We can change our mind and then don't go with our kid, or maybe grandpa doesn't want to go anymore, so we're gonna go without grandpa. And then it's 82 euros now. We're gonna now choose our add-ons. We can, by the way, change add-ons for something else. So before we do that, let's change the add-ons for something else. Here on add-ons, we can replace the add-ons for additional items and be safe. So now we need to update. It takes a little to make things perfect because perfection is on the details. So now that we updated, let's republish. Tan 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 for the second time. And then we will check our add-ons. So it was 2 adults and 1 kid. Continue. Well, we're going on the Sunday, 12. And now add-ons says additional items. Beautiful. Let's get one of those guided tours for the whole family. And no booklets. Continue. The data. And make the booking. Voila, we must pay. 424242. 4242. 1, 2, 3. That's it. See you soon. Now, we can go back to the home page, but we should be getting an email on the inbox. Let's check that to see if it's true. There it is. Bookla. Confirmation email. Amazing. And then we have the QR code and, very importantly, the manage URL. Let's see what happens when we click here. Booking details. Then we have our summary of our tickets. We bought 1 children, 2 adults, for a grand total of 82 plus the guided tour. And then we have our details down here so we can contact them, but very importantly, we can either reschedule for any other time, any other day, or we can cancel the booking for a 95% refund. Should we cancel? Let's cancel. The booking is canceled, and then we have only 87 with 40 cents out of the 92 because we cancel with more than 24 hours prior to the event. Well guys, I guess that's it for email notifications, add-ons, booking components, booking rules, styling the component and putting it into the web. Let me show you one last time everything we did together today. So we have this museum website and we included our booking component into the initial part of the museum. So we can go at different times for different prices. Then we added a special unique component so we can go visit John Nichols. This one we didn't test. Let's test it. So let's get 1 general and 1 VIP. all the Saturdays. And then this time we're not getting any add-ons. It's the only time we can go, so let's continue and finalize this booking. Success. And then we should be receiving another confirmation email on this booking, because for this one we're going on our own with no kids. We're meeting the artist. So we have the summary of our event. We're glad you got a ticket for Meet the Artist. We're expecting you at museum. Remember, if you need to modify your ticket, you can click here. And then this time is a grand total of 300 euros. If we will refund it, we get 95, or we can reschedule this booking. But there is no more times available for this date, so let's not reschedule. We had to reschedule in another week. Remember that this is a weekly event. And before we say goodbye, I would like to bring you back to the Bookla platform and just mention a few things. On the email notifications, we can create multiple types of emails, as you remember, for booking cancel, booking confirm. All of these events also can have an email. Can have an email for the merchant, as we created one. Oh, what happened to that email? Let's find out about those emails. Oh, here they are. So you see, we have the different bookings, and then it says ticket details, and then ticket map general 1, VIP 1. So they know that I only have one VIP and one general. Besides the multiple types of notifications you can create, there is many more things that I would like you to check. There are promotional things. There's promo codes that we can grant people discount based on fixed amounts or percentage. There is also gift cards, very nice for museums. There are subscriptions for those museum freaks, and there's many more things. Many more things that I will love to show you, but sadly, this visitation has come to an end. But don't worry, if you still have any questions, leave a comment down here and someone from the team will answer all of them. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please share a like with us. If you know anybody that is building a website for a museum, send them this video please. And don't forget to subscribe to the Bookla channel so you can stay up to date with the latest releases. See you next time, my friends. Bye.